Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we're really getting closer to Rosh Hashanah. We're almost 1 week away, and today we continue with our Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of the Fathers, learning chapter 2, Mishna 2, in which Rabbi Gamliel, the son of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, says, Torah study is acceptable together with an occupation, for exertion of them both makes sin forgotten. All Torah study that is not joined with work will cease in the end and lead to sin. All those who are engaged in public service should exert themselves for the sake of heaven, for then the merit of their ancestors will assist them and their righteousness will endure forever. And he finishes off saying, and you, the public servants, will be fully rewarded for your efforts as though you had achieved it. So what is this whole Mishnah telling us about Torah and work and public service? Let's see what the Maharal of Prague has to tell us. So let's start with Torah studies is good together with proper social conduct. When it says that it's important to have a proper social conduct, and the Hebrew word for it says Yafet Talmud Torah. Torah study is good, and implies that proper social conduct is primarily than Torah study. And then he's telling us, but Torah study comes first. So what is it telling us? Is it more important to be a mensch, to be a proper person, a person that is righteous, that behaves in a good manner, or a person that learns Torah? So here Rabbi Gamliel is trying to say, what he's trying to tell us here is that Torah study really is the most important thing of all. Like, we came to this world to learn Torah and to do mitzvot. That's the whole purpose of our creation. But if a person doesn't have a good social conduct, if he doesn't have bedside manners, as they call them today, then his Torah learning will not be effective. Because you can learn all the Torah in the world, but if you come home and you hit your wife, then what is that all that Torah for? Like, you're not applying it to your life. And in reality, one makes the other. Like, first you have to become a mensch to be able to learn Torah. It's important to be a proper person when you're learning something that is so holy and so deep. You have to become good. And then also, Torah study also is designed to refine us and to make us better people. So they really go hand in hand. And then it tells us here that proper social conduct is more important than Torah study. And what he means is that spiritual matters must be observed in the context and that in the correct sequence. And it's not proper to learn Torah and perform mitzvot if we don't have a proper conduct. There's nothing worse than to see a person that looks religious acting in a not religious way. This is called a Hilul Hashem. When you see a person that is dressed like a frum person and he's hitting his child in the supermarket, or he's screaming at the wife, or the wife is stealing money from someone else, this is not proper. So they really go hand in hand. And then when it says, for the exertion of them both makes sin forgotten, what it means is that both human beings have both a Yetzer Hara and a Yetzer Hatov. We have an animalistic inclination and we have a divine inclination. We have these two souls inside of us. It's the component that we have inside of our body. And in reality, it's a constant battle. From the day we're born till the day we leave this world, it's a constant battle between these two forces that are inside of us. So when we become aware of them, when you start feeling that you're not acting in the right way and you realize, you know what, this is my animal soul that is trying to make me fall, then you become more conscious of your behavior. And you realize that you have another option, that you can go with your godly soul, which is your pure essence of Hashem inside of you, a mamesh, a piece of God inside of you. And when you realize that you have another option in the way you behave, then you're able to control your animalistic nature and say, you know what, this is not who I really am. This is just my instinctive nature that I needed, that it's inside of me for my survival, but in reality I am that godly neshama, I'm that godly spark, that's what's eternal inside of me, and this is who I really am. And that's when you start acting in your essence, in your core. And then it says us here, all Torah study that is not joined with work will cease in the end and lead to sin. So what the Maharal of Prague is telling us is that work makes a person whole. People need to work. And the Rebbe Lubavitch was very adamant about this, and he said men need to work. Like, they should not be learning 24 hours a day. Like, it's good that they learn, it's important they learn, it's the most important thing. But they also should have a trade. They should also have something in which they're busy with. And the Mishnah tells us that a person who does not work is susceptible to sin in general. Why? Because not everybody has the head of a learner. Not everybody can sit in a yeshiva and learn 20 hours a day. Not everybody has this capacity. So if a person doesn't have this capacity, his mind is going to start wandering, and he starts going other places, and at the end he can end up doing things that are not the proper things for a person to be doing in their life. So work, really, if a person is not built up to learn for so many hours, he should take some time of his day and allot it to learning. This is, men should do this. But at the same time, they should also be busy making a living. And the Mishnah reveals a fascinating principle. And it says, if a person does not work, he will find that various sins arise unexpectedly. And this will be true even for a person who studies Torah. So the Yetzer Hara is like a snake, and it's very sneaky, and it just knows how to get into you. And we have to be very, very aware of that part of us all the time. We cannot go to sleep and not realize that we have this part inside of us. As holy as you are, as refined as you are, as elevated spiritually as you are, the Yetzer Hara grows with you. The more you grow in the spiritual sense, the more the Yetzer Hara will grow also. It will become bigger, because it has to be parallel. You cannot fight a little Yetzer Hara if you're such a big person. So it grows with you, and you have to be very careful. So all who exert themselves for the community should exert themselves for the sake of heaven, Leshem Shamayim. And it's interesting how it jumps from working and Torah study to coming to talk about people that are always worried about community issues, and how they have to really work for the community, thinking about God all the time in their heads. Why? Because all these jobs that are for the sake of a community come with politics. Like in a shul, in a synagogue, when you have the rabbi, and you have the president of the synagogue, and you have the gabbai, and you have this one, and you have that, then politics start to arise. And when people start putting their egos in the front line, and it's about them, and it's about them being big and them being great, and they forget that it's for a whole, for it's the community, it's for really Hashem, it's for Leshem Shamayim, for the sake of heaven, then people can lose the opportunity to do what needs to be done. And so the Maharal of Prague tells us here that a person has, when he's working for communal reasons, like when he's working for a shul, he's working for the community, they work for a Bikur Holim, they work for an organization helping people, they should always have in mind, I'm doing this because this is for the sake of heaven, this is for God, this is not for me, this is not for me to be honored, this is not for me to be important, this is really the important thing, is that this is for Hashem, and to help Him in this world, to make the life of others much better. And the Mishnah informs us that although proper social conduct is the foundation for greater things, as Torah studies, a person who is always providing for the needs of the community has very substantial reward. So Hashem has a big reward for those who work in communal affairs, because they're worried about the continuation of our Mesorah, of our traditions, and it's important that we always keep it in mind that we do it for Him and not for us. And for them, the merit of their forefathers aids them, and their righteousness endures forever. So what it's telling us here, the Mishnah, is referring to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, referring that their merits aid the people who work for the community. In any case, can be the mothers in the PTA in a Jewish school. They're working for the community. All these people that are always working to help the schools, to help the synagogues, to help people who are sick, to the elderly, whatever is a communal job, most of the time is a volunteer job. These people are aided by our forefathers, that in their merits we are being granted with assistance, protections, and guidance. And by working for the community will be another link in the chain of our history, of the continuation of the Mesorah, of our traditions, from generation to generation. And this will give the person a great reward in heaven. And Hashem will give him a lot of bracha, of blessings in his life. So with this I leave you, and I wish you a good, blessed week. And remember, live a little higher. Thank you.